Good morning, degenerates, and welcome to another episode of Boring Crypto IO, the place where I read you the boring crypto news every morning, Monday through Friday, so you don't have to. My name is not important, and I'm your host. Let's rock and roll. Biden pledges no cost to taxpayers to shield SVB signature deposits. U.S. Fed faces internal probe over Silicon Valley Bank failure. Binance to lose its British pound on and off-ramp provider in 9 weeks. And U.S. regulators shut down Signature Bank despite no insolvency. Very important stuff going on today, guys. And before we get into those details, let's just go and look at the market. I'm sure everyone is aware that the market went ham yesterday. Market cap right now, 1.076 trillion. Bitcoin dominance hard up at 43.8%, heading towards 44. ETH dominance 19.1, and Gwei is down 16 Gwei for an ETH transaction. Bitcoin on the daily 12% up, Ethereum 6.5. So on and so forth. The guys is green all the way across the board after yesterday's pump. Yeah, absolutely ham. And I'm just trying to gather my thoughts and go, try to figure out where to start. So this is Bitcoin on the 1 hour right now. I think it's telling the best story. We're banging our heads on 25K again. And so let's hit the daily just to show you guys how crazy yesterday was. So amid all of the I wouldn't call it fun because it's actually crazy stuff that actually went down, but all the negative news that went down over the weekend, today on Tuesday, we are completely corrected on a daily. That is a textbook V-shaped recovery, and we are all the way back up at 25, banging our heads on 25K again. We were right in this box yesterday. The purple box I was telling you, I think that maybe we would range. I was completely wrong. Whatever. We pumped, and that's good. Here's what we're looking at, right? Especially talking about Bitcoin. And this is what I'm hearing across the board from people that I follow as well. People are waking up, man. Look, the entire banking system is trash. It's on the brink of failure. And we're going to talk about that in some of the stories that we're about to get into, and what they're doing, what the feds are doing, or what the government's doing, whatever you want to call it. But banks are trash. They've been taking your money for years and years and years, giving you garbage interest rates while they go play in the market with your money. And they don't have the cash on hand. So if, like I told you guys yesterday, if we all went to the banks right now and tried to pull out our money, the entire financial system would fail. So their goal is to keep you from trying to take your money out of the bank, which is the scariest thing on the planet. Now, with these banks that failed yesterday, people are realizing that. And what it seems to me is they're looking at things like Bitcoin and the crypto market as a hedge, because you control your own assets. You're not worried about a bank being a custodian of your cash and whatnot. And honestly, on a personal level, this is something that me and my fiance are looking at right now, because again, we're not like balling out of control, but we have a little bit of we have an okay amount of cash reserves on the side, and we're looking at everything going on, going, well, what if our bank has a bank run? Because we have the majority of our dry powder of our cash in a traditional bank. To where I've never really been. Look, I guess I lean more towards the degen side. I'm not really been a one coiner or a big Bitcoin max or anything like that. I think it's it's the king. It's the original. It's the quote unquote sound money. But I like the ROI of other projects, right? But as a hedge against the nonsense that's going on right now, we're literally talking about at least potentially going and buying one Bitcoin which is just not something I've ever really thought about doing. The ROI just never seemed that substantial, but as a way to keep value of our money, I'm thinking about it. I'm also thinking about purchasing real bullion, and not as an investment strategy, just as a whatever. It's still worth something if for some reason the entire system takes a crap, which I'm not saying it will. Honestly, I'm leaning more towards it not, but if it were to, right, I would rather have something than nothing. And that's kind of where our heads are at. And it's something that I think people should think about as well. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some stupid idiot on the internet that knows nothing about what I'm doing. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But with that being said, because I'm rambling too much about my personal stuff, what we just watched over the last couple of days after all this bank stuff went down is, look, people believe in crypto. The traditional market is absolutely tanking right now, and crypto's pumping. We've been telling people for a long time, and here we are. So with 25K, guys, do I know if it's gonna break out? I don't, man. I'm. This has been such a weird. It's been weird. This whole thing has been weird. But we keep beating our heads against it. Eventually we're going to break it. It's going to turn to support, but the question is when. So guys, per usual, just keep your eye on that 25K level. Let me see something real quick too before I move on to Ethereum, because I really didn't give you guys too much information today on the charts. I want to see. So here's what's interesting. You know, for quite some time, if you've been following the channel, 23876 to 23789, this little channel right here has been this crazy support and resistance level. Resistance, 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 and then support, support, then resistance, and then all the way back down. So when we pumped all the way up to yesterday, we pumped all the way up to 24,616. We retraced back down to the top of that 23,876 line and bounced right off of it. So again, could we see us range in here? I wouldn't be mad at us ranging for some time, and here's why. Because this is so fast. This pump it's just too fast. And I know I'm the conservative guy. I get all like, I don't know. You could go degen on this and expect us to continue to pump, but my gut says, gets nervous. But I think it would be very healthy if we stayed in this range from 23,876. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Let's just call it 24. 24 to 25. And range in this level for quite some time. That would be healthy. Again, keep your eyes on those levels. ETH. Same thing, and actually potentially we're setting up a little bull flag right here on the 4 hour. Let's look at it on the 2. Yeah. Looks like a flag. Looks like a perfect little flag. So again, ranging in these levels, this 1662 to, let's just call it 15. Blew right past my purple channels here, this purple box that I thought that we might range in. Oh, as well, before I move on to the market's probably going to chill here for a little bit because we've got some news coming out. So the core inflation numbers are coming out today too, which, let's just look at what we got. Inflation year over year, we have a forecast of 6%. Previous was 6.4, so people are forecasting it to actually be lower. The core inflation rate year over year, forecast is 5.5, previous 5.6. So everybody's looking for a little bit of a tick down. We shall see. If these numbers come out higher than expected, I expect a pullback. Just something to keep on your radar for when these numbers do come out. All right, moving on. Let's get on to the news. Now, I'll tell you why I chose this story. Biden pledges no cost to taxpayers to shield SVB signature depositors. Now, they're not protecting stockholders or investors, I think, but they are protecting basically anybody who's just had cash in the bank. Here's the issue with this. You can't continue raising inflation rates, or excuse me, not inflation rates, interest rates, if you're going to bail out banks. And I think this is all orchestrated. They've wanted to turn the money printer back on ever since we started raising rates. We watched Powell get grilled in his hearing last week. This is what they want to do. They want to continue pumping the machine and devaluing your dollar. And this is, in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of other people out there, this is their slick way of doing it. These banks fail. Sweet. No worries. We'll find a way to print money, because what they're telling you is that taxpayers aren't going to pay for this. So this isn't going to come out of taxpayer money. This is going to be magic money out of thin air. How do you come up with magic money out of thin air? Well, you print it and you devalue the dollar. So inflation will go up. They'll continue printing. And again, that is another reason why I'm concerned with my money sitting in a bank. Yeah, that's what this is. This is just, this is their idea. Their sneaky, snaky, crafty way of continuing to print money and devalue the dollar without saying they're going to do it. Because how are they going to okay, if they're going to continue to raise interest rates, it's going to continue to keep more banks. It's going to force more banks to go insolvent, basically, as their investments that they have start to decline and don't pay out dividends, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm rambling, guys, but it's just something to think about and something to pay attention to. They're doing it to us. This is what's really sad about this. They're going to completely cripple the United States economy, and they don't care. As long as they get to keep their chairs, as long as they get to reign as the 1% and the elites, they are going to absolutely fuck you and me. So the only way to give it back to them is to not be dependent on the dollar, to find some other sound money outside the United States dollar. And that's, God, man, I think we're seeing it. People are waking up. I think that's why the market pumped yesterday, while the entire traditional financial system was completely collapsing. So let's just go on, guys. Move on with the story. Just some food for thought. While the federal government's proactive approach to minimizing damage was appreciated, many pointed out that taxpayers would ultimately suffer the deposit bailout. That's not what they're saying. They're going to print money to make this happen. The overnight collapse of two major traditional banks, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, which, by the way, this is another caveat to these stories. This is a hit on crypto. If you don't think this is a hit on crypto, you're a fool. These are the banks that have gone down: Signature Bank and Silvergate. These are all crypto-friendly banks, insanely crypto-friendly banks. We're like, and I don't mean like people like myself, retail investors, like small money people. This is big money, big money, crypto-friendly banks that were allowing people to make deposits and so on and so forth based on crypto. And the government doesn't like it. So this entire attack, it's got to be orchestrated, man, because they're taking out crypto-friendly banks. And that's what we're going to talk about in the last story too. When they shut down Signature Bank, they didn't even do any research. They just shut it down, saying, "Oh, you're going to go insolvent," without any proof. At least that's the rumor I'm hearing. So we'll see in the story. So I apologize. Moving on. So Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank triggered a series of events that impacted millions of businesses, venture capitalists, and bottom line investors alike. However, United States President Joe Biden assured taxpayers that they would not feel the burn as the federal government takes action to protect depositors. On March 11th, major stablecoins including USDC, USDD, and DAI depegged from the US dollar after Circle announced that $3.3 billion of its $40 billion revenues were stuck in SVB. Knowing that numerous other entities tied to the collapsing banks may suffer irreparable damage, Biden announced on March 12th his commitment to hold the responsible people accountable for the event. While the federal government's proactive approach to minimizing damage was appreciated, many pointed out that it's the taxpayers that would ultimately suffer the depositors' bailout. On March 13th, Biden addressed concerns through a tweet. Blah, blah, blah. Biden assured American citizens that the traditional financial system was safe. It sure as shit is not after the federal intervention. He further stated that taxpayers would not be burdened for saving SVB and signature bank depositors. People's deposits will be there and they need them at no cost to the taxpayers. However, Biden's followers on Twitter were not completely sold on this idea, as many pointed out that everything you do or touch costs taxpayers. In parallel, the U.S. Federal Reserve is closely investigating the factors that led to the failure of SVB, including how it supervised and regulated the now collapsed financial institutions, because you guys set it up this way. It's fractional reserve banking. This is such a charade. As previously reported by Cointelegraph, SVB was shut down by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation on March 10th with no specific reason offered for the bank's forced closure. However, it is suspected that SVB was on the edge of collapse due to severe liquidity troubles relating to major losses on government bond investments and unprecedented cash withdrawals. It's all a charade, guys. The U.S. Fed faces internal probe over Silicon Valley Bank failure. Everybody's pointing the finger now, too. They don't really care. They know what's going on. They know exactly what they're doing. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said a careful and thoughtful review is needed to understand how the bank collapsed under its watch. Bullshit. You guys all know exactly how it collapsed because every single bank is doing it. They're all leveraging each other. Sorry, I know I'm super opinionated on this stuff now, guys, but this is what they've been doing for years. They did it to us, and they're gonna pump stories that make it sound like they didn't know. And oh my God, how did this happen? Blah blah blah. They're all doing it. The Federal Reserve is investigating the factors that led to the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, including how it supervised and regulated the now collapsed financial institution. The Federal Reserve announced on March 13th that Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr is leading the review of the supervision regulation of Silicon Valley Bank in light of its failure, with a review set for public release by May 1st. Hey, it's my birthday. Don't give a shit. The events surrounding Silicon Valley Bank demanded a thorough, transparent, and swift review by the Federal Reserve. Chair Jerome Powell stated in an announcement, "Nobody cares. You all work for each other. We need to have humility and conduct a careful and thorough review of how we supervised and regulated this firm." And I'm sorry, I'm going to stop talking about this stuff. And what we should learn from this experience, Vice Chair Barr added. SVB was shut down by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation on March 10th with no specific reason offered behind the bank's forced closure. However, prior to shutting down, SVB was reportedly on the edge of collapse due to severe liquidity troubles relating to major losses on government bond investments and withdrawals by spooked depositors. How dare you want to go to the bank and take your money out? It was the second major U.S. bank to crumble last week following the bankruptcy of crypto-friendly Silvergate, with its parent company Silvergate Capital Corporation announcing a voluntary liquidation on March 8th. Adding to the chaos, another crypto-friendly U.S. bank went bust on March 12th when the New York Department of Financial Services took control of Signature Bank. We're going to get into that. The latest announcement from the Federal Reserve comes just a day after it rolled out the $25 billion bank term funding program. There's that money, y'all. Funny money, fake money, printing money, devaluing your hard-earned dollars to backstop liquidity troubled banks, curb further collapse, and protect depositors. I'm reading this tweet. I'm kind of debating if I want to read it or not. Says the big four U.S. banks just got a $210 billion federal bailout. How? Fed's new BTFP facility allows banks to borrow against the negative collateral value on the graph at par instead of at market value. The Big Four have 210 billion of these losses. Fucking terrifying. The Biden administration has taken swift action in that regard, with the president announcing on March 13th, America can have confidence that the banking system is safe. It sure is shit not. These guys just lie and lie and lie. Again, hear me when I say this. It is not safe. I'm not telling you to run to the bank and take all your money out. But the banking system is not safe. They are losing their shit right now. They are freaking out. Because if every single one of us went to the bank right now and said, fuck you, give us our money, the entire system would fall apart. And we would drag these people out in the streets. They're scared. Your deposits will be there when you need them. No losses will be borne by the taxpayer. That doesn't mean shit, Mr. Biden. If, I don't know, let's use some arbitrary numbers. If I have $100,000 in the bank and I go through, I don't know, a year of 20% inflation, which you're going to continue to cause by printing this money, that money ain't worth 100K anymore. Sorry. I know, guys. I'm opinionated as shit this morning. Biden added that the management behind the collapsed bank will be held accountable for their failures and suggested that those responsible could be prosecuted. You are responsible. God, these people are gross. He also called for stronger banking oversight and outlined that thorough investigations will take place. We must get the full accounting of what happened, he said. This dude is a tool bag. I'm sorry. Guys, I don't care if you're left. I don't care if you're right. They're all doing the same shit. They all want to stay elite. They all want to keep, and they don't give a shit about any one of us. It's just what it is. All right. Binance to lose its British pound on and off ramp provider in 9 weeks. Binance is under attack, y'all. But I would say this is crypto as a whole, because Binance being the largest exchange on the planet, it's just crypto is under attack. Now, here's what's interesting. If you're new to the space, we didn't have a ton of on and off ramps when back in 2017 when I started in this space. You just figured it out. The only negative I see about running out of on ramps again is that there is probably a portion of the market that we'll lose because it is cumbersome. It is tricky to learn, like just BTC and ETH pairs and compare them to dollars, etc., and do the math in your head or whatever, however you want to call it. It is cumbersome. It is frustrating. It sucks. So I do believe that there is a portion of the market that will just kind of back out of crypto because it's not simple anymore. If they continue to squeeze these off ramps like this, but is it going to kill crypto? Absolutely not. We'll just go back to trading BTC and ETH pairs. No big deal. Anyways, moving on. Binance has also had problems with its banking partner for United States dollar transfers over the last few months. I'm telling you guys, this is an attack. Binance is scrambling to find a new service partner to process British pound transfers on its trading platform after its current partner, Skrill Limited, announced it would soon cease providing services to the crypto exchange. Binance explained in a March 13th email to Binanceans, why did they just say customers of Binance, that Skrill would stop processing pound deposits and withdrawals via bank transfer with its faster payment services and card on May 22nd. We regret to inform you that our GBP fiat partner, Skrill Limited, has informed us that it will stop offering GBP fiat services, namely deposits and withdrawals via faster payments and card, to Binance users. The statement read. And there is the statement. The trading platform added that they are working hard to find an alternative provider to provide British, I'm assuming it's supposed to be British, pound on and off ramp services to users as soon as possible. It has about 9 weeks to find an alternative before Skrill terminates its services. Now, some food for thought. This is something to people that do card on ramping or ACHs, etc., There's going to be a void. Someone's going to step up and make a ton of money. Binance, however, confirmed that the charge would not impact Binance accounts or any Binance.com products or services. A Binance spokesperson told Cointelegraph, told Cointelegraph that pound transfers were suspended on March 13th for new users and that users will still be able to access their pound balances in the meantime. This change affects less than 1% of Binance users. However, we know that these services are valued by our users and our team is working hard to find an alternative solution for them. In the meantime, all methods of depositing and withdrawal other fiat currencies as well as buying and selling crypto on Binance.com remain unaffected, including bank transfers using one of the other fiat currencies supported by Binance and buying and selling crypto directly via credit or debit card, the spokesperson added. This isn't the only service provider dilemma that Binance has dealt with of late either. Binance separately suspended USD bank transfers on February 8th, but did not provide an explanation as to why, saying just that it would work to restart the features as soon as possible. At the time, the halt did not apply to US-based independent entity Binance US. On January 1st, Binance also announced that its primary banking partner, reportedly now shuttered Signature Bank, would ban US dollar transfers below $100,000 on the trading platform. The service ceased on February 1st. Binance then announced on January 23rd that Binance users from 143 countries would no longer have access to the SWIFT US dollar bank deposits and withdrawal channel at all. The United States, United Kingdom, Australia, France, and Germany were some of the few countries that made the cut. Cointelegraph reached out to PaySafe, the parent company of Skrill, but did not receive an immediate response. Guys, listen to all this. They're trying, because they can't ban crypto. There's no way to do that. But they're trying to make it as hard as possible to get on and off of exchanges, to get your money on, basically turn your fiat into crypto. It's black and white. Instead of just banning crypto, because they can't do that, they're going to make it as hard as possible for you to trade crypto. That's their goal. All right, last story for today, guys. Oh, before I move on to, supposedly CZ made some tweet or came out and said they're going to be transferring or transitioning almost like $1 billion of, I don't quote me on this, I think it was stable coin assets into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB, which is huge. So that's going to be a huge pump in the market as well. They are doubling down on crypto and telling basically fiat to suck it. That's my opinion. Moving on. U.S. regulators shut down Signature Bank despite no insolvency report. This is what I was talking about. Oh, we're just going to shut you down. Why? We just think you're insolvent. Well, would you like to look at our books to see if we are or not? No. Well, how do you know if we are or not? Because you're dealing in crypto. That's how we know. Regulators wanted to send a very strong anti-crypto message, said former House of Representatives member and Signature Bank board member Barney Frank. Barney Frank, a former member of the United States House of Representatives, has reportedly suggested that New York regulators close the crypto-friendly Signature Bank as part of a seeming show of force. Exactly. According to a March 13th CNBC report, Frank, also a board member of Signature Bank, said the only indication of problems at the bank was a deposit run of more than $10 billion on March 10th, which he called purely contagion from the Silicon Valley Bank fallout. The New York Department of Financial Services took control of Signature on March 12th and appointed the U.S. Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to handle the insurance process. I think part of what happened was that regulators wanted to send a very strong anti-crypto message, said Frank. We became the poster boy because there was no insolvency based on the fundamentals. Signature was the third major bank with ties to crypto to collapse in the last week, following Silvergate Bank's parent company announcing it would voluntarily liquidate the firm on March 8th. We all know this. California financial watchdog shutting down Silicon Valley Bank on March 10th. Masari founder and CEO Ryan Selkis echoed Frank's statements, claiming both Silvergate and Signature were solvent at the time authorities acted. And there it is. Silvergate is still solvent despite an unprecedented 90-day, $12 billion liquidation sparked by a corrupt sitting senator who coordinated a bank run with short sellers. Signature was healthy. New York, the NYDFS, went rogue in shutting them down and surprised even the FDIC. It's targeted. Absolutely, it's targeted. And don't think for a second it is not. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who grilled Jerome Powell last week about raising interest rates because, okay, and before I finish, this is a reality. The only way to curb inflation and to keep the dollar from going fucking ham and turning into nothing is to raise interest rates. That is literally the only tool the Fed is given. The goal is this. The goal is literally to cause a recession. You have to. You have to get people to stop spending money. And it hurts. And it's painful. And they should have done it 10 years ago when it wasn't as bad. But I watched Elizabeth Warren grill Powell of just atrocious BS about, oh, you're going to put 2 million people out of jobs. Unfortunately, yes. And I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying I'm for that. But the question that never got asked in this bullshit back and forth tennis match while Powell was being grilled was, so what else would you suggest I do? If we want to stop inflation, this is what we have to do. And neither once did Powell also ask Elizabeth Warren, do you want to see the dollar go to zero? Do you want to see people like what's the difference? Whether you have a job or not, if the money you're making is losing value while you're sitting there making it, like, what is the difference? I don't know. Again, it just shows how orchestrated this. It's all bullshit. It's all a charade, guys. It's all an act. It's literally theater. Sorry. I gotta just stop apologizing. If you're here, you know why you're here. If you listen to me ramble, you know why you're here. All right. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a well-known anti-crypto voice in the U.S. government, said in a New York Times opt that the blame for Silicon Valley Bank largely rested on the former presidential admin. This is such fucking bullshit. No, it didn't. It rested on the fact that you guys have been doing this in the banking system for years. Nothing has changed. Which rolled back critical parts of the Dodd-Frank Act in 2018, as well as federal regulators who made a bad situation worse. She called for Congress, banking regulators, and the current administration to reverse these actions as an immediate priority. Won't change anything. Had Congress and the Federal Reserve not rolled back to stricter oversight, SVB and Signature would have been subject to stronger liquidity and capital requirements to withstand financial shocks, said Warren. They would have been required to conduct regular stress tests to expose their vulnerabilities and shore up their businesses. But because those requirements were repealed when an old-fashioned bank run hit SVB, the bank couldn't withstand the pressure, and Signature's collapse was closed behind. It doesn't matter. Do this with any bank right now. Any bank gets a bank run, it's shutting down. It has nothing to do with regulation. This is all bullshit, guys. The situation with Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and Silvergate Bank is still developing, but affected SVB shareholders have already filed a lawsuit in federal court accusing the crypto bank and two of its executives of fraud. USDC temporarily depegged from the dollar, and in reports, Issuer Circle had more than blah, 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 3 billion in SVB. We know that. All right, y'all. That is all I've got for you today. We're going to look. Holy crap, Bitcoin just pumped. Jesus. I need to go buy a Bitcoin. Well, so much for watching that level of 25. We just smashed through it while doing the show. That is one giant God candle. I'm going to go to the 15 just to see. That is a 15-minute candle. That is the start of a new 15-minute candle. We're 5 minutes in. This is a 20-minute run. Jesus, guys. I'm seeing if any news just came out that might be pumping the... no, it was 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago. Okay. Well, there you have it, y'all. If we hold above 25, we're well on our way to 30. That's my opinion. We're going to hit some turbulence on the way with these levels I have marked. 26,209, 27,290, 28,909. We'll just call that 29, and then 30. But if we turn 25 into support on any kind of significant candle, 4 hour, anything above the 4 hour, if this starts turning into support, we're off to the races. But guys, that's all I got for you today. I know I've been very opinionated lately, but you've got to understand, man. I'm just tired of being, liquidity for these elites. And I hate that term elite, to be entirely honest, because I don't care if you make money. I don't care if you make a ton of money, if you busted your ass, whatever. I'm not against you being rich by any means. But what I am against is the fucking bullshit out there right now of all these people sitting in Congress acting as if they give a shit about any one of us. I don't care left or right. I do not care. They do not care about us. All they care about is holding on to their wealth, making a ton of money, holding on to their position, and looking down at us like we're fucking peasants. I'm over it. So, with that being said, if you do provide the content, if you do enjoy the content I provide here on Boring Crypto IO, please, by all means, subscribe to my channel. Turn on that bell for notifications so you know when I post my videos, because I don't really have a specific time I do these, just morning. Watch, like, and please share the videos if you like them, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Stay safe out there. I'm out of here.